Welcome back to In Focus. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, has pleaded guilty to driving under the influence, a DUI. This after he was arrested back in May for causing injury stemming from a car crash. Pelosi was initially charged with 2 misdemeanors for driving with a blood alcohol level of 0.08 at the time of the crash. California Highway Patrol just released the dashcam footage from this night. We've discussed it on the show. The footage is here. Let's take a look.
So you can try both feet out if you want. I'll let you start. You can try the test with both feet. I'll give you like a pre-trial run, for lack of a better term. You can try it with both feet, see which one you feel more comfortable with, and then once you're ready, just let me know. Are you sure you could complete the test? Okay. Because I really don't want you to fall over and hurt yourself. That's the last thing I'm... Right, but that defeats the whole purpose of the test, grabbing onto a patrol car.
So clearly he's pretty intoxicated, slur speech and all. The fact that he initially pleaded not guilty to both charges at the start of August, I mean, come on. You've seen the video now, really? Now, Pelosi finally came to his senses Tuesday, pleading guilty to 1 count of DUI. According to court records, he's been sentenced to 3 years of probation, 5 days of jail time, and ordered to pay $6,800 in fines and restitution. And I've also heard from the very reliable source, the Babylon Bee, he's going to be sentenced to return home, worst of all, to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Criminal defense attorney Bob Bianchi joins me now with a legal perspective on all of this. Bob, thank you for joining me. So Paul Pelosi, he originally pleaded not guilty, which is hardly a surprise, especially coming from someone like Paul Pelosi. But now he's pleaded guilty, and I suspect it's because he was guaranteed to have a little bit lighter sentencing.
Yeah, Addison, I mean, listen, every single case that comes into my office, every client, irrespective of their guilt or not, pleads not guilty. That is the process that starts the ability to get the police reports so that the defense lawyers can evaluate the value of the case. Now, 0.08 is the legal limit, or 0.8 is the legal limit in California, and he had just a hair over that. So a lot of defense attorneys in cases like that, where they would actually argue that the results maybe were not accurate, trying to get the prosecutors to go to a more lenient sentence. So nothing surprising here. I think the only thing that's really of issue here is why he wasn't charged with a felony, because there were injuries. And the district attorney out there basically says the injuries weren't significant. And from my contacts out in California who I spoke to, they said it would not be unusual for them to be under those circumstances, because there wasn't serious injury, to be charged with a misdemeanor. And that this plea they actually felt was actually more draconian, because typically speaking, they don't get any jail time for a first offender. So I guess the devil's in the details as to how you want to view it.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, he's being sentenced to 5 days in jail, 3 years probation, I believe $6,800 in fines. However, that could change. They could slash some of that. Do you suspect that it could go in that direction?
You know, possibly. Again, a 0.08 is like right on the 0.02, I think it was. It's like right on the precipice of a DUI case. So again, my contacts out there thought that the plea was actually more draconian than what most first offenders give. So any leniency the court may give in the future is a possibility here. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see. You know, 0.08 also isn't like a really high BAC. It's kind of surprising when you look at that video that his reaction was not, to me, consistent with what I see with the 0.08 cases that I handle. So I don't know if there's something else at play there, whether it's a medical condition, whether other substances, medications. I've heard the video where the doctors, the police officers are asking about other medications. All those things could be central nervous system depressants that could actually be charged with being under the influence, Addison. So, I mean, the 0.08 and the way he's reacting seems incongruous to me.
Yeah, likewise, you know, because as you said, that is the right at the legal limit, and he looks like he's had a couple more than the legal limit, the way he's acting. Now, Bob, one thing I'm excited to get your take on is the Trump lawsuit that he has filed after the FBI raided his home. He's filed a suit with the United States government alleging all sorts of things, but namely that this raid was unjust, especially considering that, you know, he says he's been very cooperative with the FBI for any request that they have. And he has said to date the government has failed to legitimize its historic decision to raid the home of a president who had been fully cooperative. What are your thoughts on this lawsuit? I know we've had you on to talk about it before. Now the pending lawsuit, now it's out. Your thoughts, Bob?
You know, as a legal analyst, Addison, you got to love President Trump. He just provides like so many nuanced legal issues that we've never addressed before. So, I mean, he's got a right as a citizen to be able to file this complaint with the DOJ and lawsuit rather, and to say, I want them to stop reviewing these documents and ask that a special master be appointed. Now, a special master is a technique that federal judges typically use when there's an attorney-client privilege that's involved here. But what former President Trump is basically arguing is that a lot of these documents that were seized, he's not denying he had them. He's not denying any of that. He's basically saying, well, I was cooperating and I would have given them over, but they came and got them. And now I want you to appoint somebody that's going to review those documents, not the FBI, not the Department of Justice. I think something that's interesting that may be of note is while he's making that argument in his moving papers, they indicated that he would have handed the documents over anyway if asked. Now, we don't know. The DOJ and people are saying that they've subpoenaed the documents. They did ask for them. He didn't turn them over. That's something that's going to have to be fleshed out down the road when the documents become available. But I think the argument that he says that he would have handed them over if they were merely asked for them is going to cut across or against his argument that somebody independently should be reviewing it, because he's essentially indicating if they had asked, I would have given it anyway. So it's kind of a weird thing. We'll see what the judge does. I don't think personally the judge will be inclined to appoint a special master in the case. I think they're going to have have confidence, whether you agree with that or not, with the team that's already there, that's looking independently at the Department of Justice, and they've already operated. That's how the passports got back. So they're looking through the stuff, and there are definitely things I think that were taken, Addison, that are probably outside the parameters of the search warrant, like the passports, and that's what the team is supposed to do, send it back. I don't think a judge is going to appoint a special master, but, you know, it is a unique case. It is the first time the president's ever had a search warrant executed upon them. So you may get a judge that says, you know, because of the novel situation here, I'm going to do it just to play it safe. I don't think that's how it's going to fall, but that could be an argument.
Well, it's a very, very much a developing story and a developing lawsuit. So we'll have to have you back on when we have more on it, more updates. Bob Bianchi from Law and Crime Network. Great to have you on as always.
Thanks, Addison.